I managed to get my hands on water from a reservoir, over 43 years old, and with it, I built an entire ecosystem, home to some truly fascinating creatures I had never seen before in my life. Tiny predators, microscopic organisms, and forms of life that had been hidden away for decades, just waiting to come to light. It all started when, after several hours of hiking, I finally reached a very old spring, one that had turned into a kind of pool. And although I had already filmed different aquatic ecosystems in the past, this one had something special about it, something different from anything before. The water, supposedly, is completely running and drinkable, and it originates from a spring at the top of the mountain range, and it's also filled with a large number of aquatic plants, continuously oxygenating it. As I leaned in, I saw something, a small praying mantis, lifeless, floating on the surface. In summer, it's common for many animals, insects included, to come here to hydrate, turning it into an oasis in the forest. And some, unfortunately, end up trapped. When I filled the jar, something terrifying appeared right in front of me. A tick. But not just any tick. It's one of the species that transmits Crimean Congo hemorrhagic fever. And what amazed me the most was its speed. This species actively chases down its hosts. Finally, I gathered some aquatic plants, placed them inside the jar, and started making my way back home. The next day, the water in the jar looked completely calm, with very little life visible to the naked eye. But when I turned on the super zoom on my camera, I discovered the exact opposite. I was holding an entire universe in my hands. I began exploring the bottom and found a few large larvae buried within the sediment. But right away, I noticed subtle movements from several different species of worms, some resembling tiny leeches, and others longer and flatter. These last ones are annelids, a group of worms with bodies divided into small, repeating segments, each with its own muscular and nervous system, giving them remarkable mobility. And the most astonishing part is that many annelid species are able to regenerate entire segments of their body if they lose them. And some can even rebuild a complete organism from just a single fragment. And here's something you probably didn't know. Some annelids, like earthworms, don't just have one heart, they have up to 5 pairs of them, pumping blood throughout their entire body. Another interesting fact, these worms act as bioindicators. The more of them there are, the worse the water quality. And if you accidentally drank them, don't worry, they're harmless to humans. As I zoomed in among the aquatic plants, I spotted other creatures much higher up the food chain, predators, damselfly larvae, which also tend to appear in groups. Take a look at that crest-like structure that never stops moving. Those are actually gills, which, besides helping it breathe underwater, also work like a fin for swimming. And that tail split into 3 points isn't just for show, it's a real defense mechanism. If a predator grabs onto it, the larva can instantly detach it and escape alive, just like a lizard with its tail. But the most impressive part of all is how it hunts, hidden beneath a spring-loaded jaw, which shoots forward in a split second to seize its prey before it even has a chance to react. And remember, this is natural water, from a reservoir many people come to drink straight from. That day, I chose not to, and seeing just how many creatures actually live in here, especially in summer, I think it was the right call. But the best part, I promise you, I've saved for the end. I decided to stay and watch for a whole hour where this tiny water snail was headed. Of course, you're seeing this part in fast motion, and here's something you probably didn't know. Many of these snails don't breathe oxygen dissolved in the water, they breathe air just like we do, which is why they regularly rise to the surface to refill it. And finally, that's exactly what it did. It emerged at the surface before letting itself drop back down into the void and returning to the bottom of the jar. The surface was where life truly came alive, with larvae of every kind. But there was something else. Without meaning to, I had trapped several very small tadpoles in my ecosystem, almost newly hatched. At this early stage, they feed mainly on algae and plant matter, it breathing through gills, just like a fish. And here's something you probably didn't know. When the time comes for metamorphosis, their own tail doesn't just disappear, it gets reabsorbed by the body and used as a nutrient reserve. And in situations of extreme scarcity, they can even end up feeding on each other. But this isn't the right place for them. I'll need to take them out and head back to the spring to release them, where they truly belong. And what's most surprising is that these tadpoles can recognize their own siblings by scent, thanks to chemical signals they release into the water from birth. Because of this, they tend to group together with them, forming small family schools that stay together even among dozens of unfamiliar tadpoles. While I was watching, something appeared in front of me at an incredible speed. It was a water bug, the fastest predator in this entire ecosystem. It detects the vibrations of its prey underwater, and as soon as it locates them, it strikes at full speed to stab them with its sharp beak. And then, an entire universe appeared. These creatures are copepods. And believe it or not, according to scientific studies, they're considered the strongest animal on the planet in proportion to their size, able to accelerate in a matter of milliseconds to escape from any predator. They mainly feed on phytoplankton, microscopic algae, and tiny bits of organic matter floating in the water, filtering every particle with their tiny legs. And while I was watching, some of the larger copepods were disturbing the peace of a dragonfly larva resting on a flower, bumping into it over and over, while the larva tried to shoo them away with its tail, just like a cow swatting flies with its tail. Right next to it, I found a transparent mass, almost invisible to the naked eye, but that was actually packed with the eggs of some creature. Through it, you could see, inside each egg, something that was already forming, and it's very likely we'll get to see it later on in another video. Stuck to the glass, you could see a few insect cocoons in the middle of metamorphosis, and also this other creature, a mosquito larva, breathing through its siphon, which it kept positioned right at the water's surface. It's incredible that it has a completely different anatomy from the adult mosquito, since it doesn't even have lungs. It breathes by having that siphon break through the water's surface tension like a tiny snorkel, and that's the only way oxygen can actually reach its body. There were only a few of these larvae scattered throughout this ecosystem, mixed in among all the other tiny life filling the water. If I left them long enough, sooner or later something incredible would happen. Those very same cocoons would open, and fully formed, adult mosquitoes would emerge from inside, ready to leave the water behind forever and take flight for the very first time. And now, I realize that any puddle or any little corner of still water can hide an entire microworld, with its own species, its own diversity, and a balance just as delicate as that of any ecosystem on a much larger scale. And like I mentioned earlier, I found something truly amazing in this water. It's the first time I've ever watched a water strider this closely, an insect from the family Gerridae, capable of walking on water thanks to surface tension and the tiny hydrophobic microhairs covering its legs. Scientists call this technique surface tension locomotion, and it's exactly what lets it glide across the water without ever sinking. These videos take a lot of time and effort to make, so if you're enjoying this one, I'd really appreciate it if you could hit like and drop a comment. It would help me so much.